Good morning. It is time for Mental Toughness Monday. Today, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to bring in an oil. So, any oil that you have, but we're going to read about peppermint because that's the one that somebody said they had, and that was the one that was said first. Oh, geez. Still need this right here. Okay, peppermint brings joy and buoyancy to the heart and soul and invigorates the body, mind, and spirit and invites or reminds individuals that life can be happy and they don't have to be controlled by fear. It lifts them out of their emotional trials for a short reprieve. When individuals use peppermint, they feel as though they're gliding through life. It assists in staying on the surface of emotional issues, like floating on the top of water. The power of peppermint can be felt in most in times of discouragement or despair. When individuals are disheartened, they can use peppermint to rediscover the joy of being alive. However, they can also, oh, this is a warning. You may also abuse the properties of peppermint oil if it's used as a permanent escape to avoid dealing with emotional pain. It can hinder growth and progress. Peppermint should not be used in this way. It aids individuals who need a short breather. At times, a reprieve is necessary before re entering emotional waters, but one is not meant to wade in the shallow end forever. When it is accepted and embraced, emotional pain can serve as a teacher. Peppermint can assist individuals in regaining the strength needed to face their emotional reality. And you can inhale it, put it on your hand, rub and inhale it. You can topically put it on, apply over your chest, shoulders, or back of neck, put it under your tongue, or put it in a capsule, or drink it in water. You can also it helps with the negative emotions of anguish, despair, heavy hearted, pessimistic, sad, and it brings positive properties of buoyancy, optimism, relieved, strength to face emotional pain. So it brings courage. There you go. And it goes good with tangerine, elevation, lime, sunny citrus, and island mint, and wild orange, as we know, because we love those two together, right? The wild orange peppermint. Wow. Okay. Did you guys learn anything about peppermint today that you didn't know before?
Not only that, it clears your sinus.
Right? It's amazing for that. Fantastic in your hot chocolate.
I've never heard that you can abuse using peppermint emotionally.
Easy, right? Who knew?
That's new.
Maybe
Right?
the ones of us who use it as a perfume shouldn't.
Maybe. I do love peppermint. Love me some good peppermint. Okay, well that was awesome. Thanks for indulging me on that. We are on number 50 today. Oh, before we do that though, last week we talked about tremendous faith, champions having tremendous faith in our action step. Gosh, I keep taking my glasses off because I can't see as good with them. Oh, Mary's here. Yay. Okay, last week, how much faith do you have in how much faith do the people have around closest to you in themselves, and how much faith do they have in a higher power? Right? Because yeah, so tell me how your week went and any thoughts that you had on the tremendous faith. Calvin Coolidge said we do not need more intellectual power, we need more spiritual power. We do not need more of the things that are seen, we need more of the things that are unseen. Any thoughts on faith from last week?
I have lots of thoughts on faith, but I will just share a couple. Good
Awesome.
morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Um, I realized this week that um, I had to clear up a few things between me and God. And in the sense of that I had been placing upon him my perception based upon earthly people. And
Mm,
so my faith in him was not as great because I was I was viewing him as someone that I couldn't fully trust. And
Mm.
so sometimes that needs to happen. We need to clear up some stories and some misconceptions or lies that we've been telling ourselves so that we can fully have faith in him. And I love that this is in a business book that he's reminding us that having faith in God will help us to just be better humans, right? So that we can and I feel like part of that, and maybe we talked about this last week. I sorry, I can't remember, but it part of that I feel like helps to keep us in a space of recognizing that we don't know it all
Yeah.
and that we helps us to be more open to allowing other people to help influence decisions and in a healthy way. I want to say people to influence our decisions in the way that we do things so that we're not this, I know everything and I'm not going to listen to you and be open
Yeah.
to the input. So those are my thoughts.
Well, I love that. I love that. Thank you so
Mhm.
much. And it reminds me of something my dad often says and I've heard him say it many times when I've been going through a hard time, which is, it's funny how things work out for the best. And that is a statement of faith, right? Because we don't know all the time all the things, but we do know when we have that faith in God that we can trust that things do work out for the best. And it brings that hope to the conversation so that there is a future. Chris, did you have something you wanted to add?
No, huh? Did I look like I did?
Yeah, you popped up in the speaker view. So I was like, oh, Chris wants to say something.
Nope, nope, not me.
I
Awesome.
love I love that statement that you shared. Thank you. Of the it's funny how things work out for the best because then like as we get into situations too, it helps us to be able to have hope
Hmm.
and be more open to finding a creative solution that will help us through that difficult time rather than just thinking there's only two
Yeah,
options because God always provides way more. He can do anything. I
yeah.
mean, part the Red Sea, like there's
That was a good day, right? That was awesome.
right. That was a good day.
Yeah. No, I love that. Yeah, and hope really is like, I mean, yeah, like hope is the thing with feathers, right? It can fly. It can lift. And if you let it go, then you're left without it. But if you stick with it, you keep it, then it lifts you. So I love that. All right. Shall we jump into handling fear like a snake charmer?
Can I just add something based just going off of what Mary said first?
Yes.
I love that you brought up like being open because I just listened to a podcast this morning that I thought was really appropriate, particularly for the time of year that we're going into. Because we are going into the holidays where we naturally have gratitude and then we're naturally going to be like giving gifts and things like that. And the the podcast I was listening to talked about the abundance cycle, how the first step in this is to be open. We have to be able to receive, and as we receive, we can we have to have something to give. Does that make sense? So first of all, you have to be open so that you can receive, and then um, you can be grateful for that, and then you can give. You just become a more generous giver as you are open and able to receive. Anyway, I thought that that was appropriate in thinking about faith as well, because I feel like that fits very well with that cycle as well, because it does take faith to open ourselves to possibilities. It does take faith to receive. It does take faith to be grateful. And it does take faith to give. So I
Right.
just wanted to share that. I learned that this morning.
Oh, that is
Thank
beautiful.
you.
That is beautiful. And this really just like all of this takes us right into the handling of fear like a snake charmer. The quote is from Guillaume Apollinaire. Apollinaire, I have no idea. Come to the edge, he said. They said, we are afraid. Come to the edge, he said. They came. He pushed them, and they flew. Guillaume Apollinaire is a poet. He lived from 1880 to 1918. The relationship performers have with fear is a significant distinction between amateurs and professionals. Amateurs are controlled by their fears, while professionals learn to embrace their fear like a snake handler holding a venomous king cobra by the neck. Champions know if they get sloppy or stop paying attention, the cobra will take their life. The great ones use the energy and intensity of fear to drive them to greater heights. They learn how to become comfortable while performing in an uncomfortable state of mind. Repeated exposure to their fears systematically desensitizes them, eventually depleting the fear. An interesting phenomenon often occurs after this desensitization process. Performers fall in love with the activity they used to fear. Suddenly, they can't get enough of the activity because it makes them feel so good. Since the beginning of public opinion polls, the number one fear among people worldwide has always been public speaking. The fear of public humiliation is too much for the ego to bear. So most people develop a tremendous fear of speaking to groups. Realizing the incredible force public speaking can be in their careers, many champions have faced this fear head on and later fell in love with the emotional high that public speaking offers. Champions have learned emotional strength and power lies on the other side of fear. On the other end of the spectrum, amateurs usually settle for the short term gain of avoiding what they fear. All right, let's talk about fears. Are any of you afraid of public speaking? Just
Yes.
curious if
I
that's
was
one of your.
just saying, I was just saying on mute that wouldn't that be awesome to fall in love with the emotional high public speaking offers?
Yeah,
That's a real fear.
I love it. And yet I've watched you over the past few years and you've become a really good public speaker on Zoom. Were you scared of that before?
Oh, I still am.
Well, you're amazing at it. And I'm really excited about your BOGO class coming up tonight, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. When I look at my script, I'm thinking, what are you thinking?
But you handle it like a snake charmer
We'll
because there you
see.
are, making it
What time is
happen.
that, Chris?
Yeah.
What
Eight
time?
o'clock
It's 8 o'clock.
Okay,
I put the link on WhatsApp.
thank
in
you.
the team chat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hop on
I feel
tonight because
like
BOGOs start tomorrow. Go ahead, Mary.
I love that the topic last week was faith and that this week is fear because if we're feeling drawn to do something that we need to do something, but the fear is there, if we're willing to just step out into the dark, step out into the water, knowing that what something's going to happen, that we're going to
Yep.
be
Grab
okay.
your peppermint and get a little bit of liquid courage, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Or Cassie is really good for that too. Um, just yeah, I love that that was the topic last week because it just goes right with this.
Yeah. Awesome.
My
Linda,
my
Yes,
experience.
hold on just a second, Dad. Linda had her hand up.
in teaching, I learned to speak to the children, and now on NKA as an adult, I had to teach Tai Chi to adults, and I thought, wow, how do I step out in this? It was kind of fearful because I was used to teaching little kids, not adults. And
Yeah.
so you have to just step, and I did use my oils, and you just step out and you just treat them as normal, and then it's okay. But
Yeah.
I was a little afraid at first.
Yeah. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Dean.
Actually, I find that teaching children might be scarier because they
No,
pay attention and adults don't.
that might be true too, Chris. That's funny.
Dad, I want to hear what you had to say.
Me too. I can't remember. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Handling fear like a snake charmer. And I think Mary was talking right before that about like stepping into the fear.
Well, it is like stepping into the fear. I remember what I was going to say. Uh, if we, it's easy to get overwhelmed on things, but if I have to drive to Chicago and I'm starting at 10 o'clock at night, and I'm tired and it's a long ways, and I wonder if I can see, the fear kind of goes away when I get in the car and get started because I have confidence that my beams of my headlight will always be 200 or 300 feet in front of me,
Mm-hmm.
paving the way into the dark of things that I really don't know. And I can see incrementally as I go. A lot of the best ways to face fear is get started. Just go do something.
I love that. And that I know Justin Harrison has a quote on that too of I can't remember the quote right now that I'm thinking about it, but it's the inaction, like it creates doubt when we don't do anything, like when we're sitting and wondering and um, you know, vacillating between halting between two decisions. Um, that is definitely it can be very debilitating, right? To be in that position. But I love that you're like, you know what, it's a long ways to Chicago, but if I can go 200 or 300 feet and then you just keep going, right? 200 or 300 feet. I think that's really powerful. The action step for today is take inventory of your fears. Are they adult fears or are they adolescent fears? An adult fear is being afraid of a truck about to run over you. It's the kind of fear that can save your life. An adolescent fear is being afraid of the boogeyman under your bed or of being rejected by a prospect or embarrassed in front of a group. The threat is literally made up in our minds. When we allow adolescent fears to hold us back, we are behaving like children. In the world class resource, read Conquer Fear by Lisa Jimenez. You can also sign up for Lisa's free e-zine at www.rx-success.com. I have no idea if that's still a good link because, again, this is an older copy of the book. But Tim sent me a video. He sent a few of our family a video of a man named Porter. I forget Porter Ellett. What is wrong here? Why are we having that feeling? There we go. Oh, cancel. What? Okay, we're all here.
Okay.
Stop. What are we doing? I'm kind of nervous now that my thing is about to shut me down. That is a high possibility based on what is happening. So if I get lost,
Just come
in the,
back if you get lost. I think it'll keep us here.
if I get lost, right? I don't know why this is doing what it's doing. Okay, I'm not lost yet. So, but I did lose what I wanted to share. This man, Porter Ellett, he is from a small town in Utah. And when he was 4 years old, he got into an accident But I want to share this with you. Stop for a second, please. There we go. All right, now share. And let's have some sound. You guys are going to just like be like, what? Here we go.
During warm-ups before each Chiefs game, the focus is often on Patrick Mahomes. But standing beside him is someone who inspires in his own way.
He just came and started doing it. It wasn't like I asked him to do it. He just saw that I was catching the football and he took it upon himself. He was like, hey, I'll come catch if you want me to.
Before every game since 2020, Chiefs assistant coach Porter Ellett and Mahomes have followed this same routine.
Being a part of that world, of his competitive world, is really special. Of all the people to catch, it's like, yeah, let's have the one-arm kid catch. Grew up on a farm, central Utah. In the summer, we would go out and check on our sheep and cows and kind of like move them wherever they needed to be moved.
What do you remember about that day?
Typical early morning, go, just take a drive.
My dad had a motorcycle and he would always haul it in the back of the truck. So I was 4 and I like begged him, like, hey, can I ride in the back?
We were headed up the mountain. The road was really rough.
I was sitting on the motorcycle and I went to get off. And as I was like getting off, we hit a bump and I fell out of the back of the truck.
He hit his head on a rock. It tore all the nerves out of his right shoulder, and he had a brain bleed.
They had to life flight me to Salt Lake, and I was like really close to cutting one of the main arteries in my head and like bleeding out. But then they did all this testing on my arm and realized I couldn't move it anymore.
I thought, well, why did I let him ride in the back of the truck? All these scenarios, I was thinking I could have avoided that if I'd have just made different decisions.
With his arm no longer functional due to the nerve damage from the accident, Porter's pursuit of a normal childhood proved challenging.
Where were you in your mindset at that point?
If I didn't amputate it, I thought that it would cause me to not progress. So I was like, all right, let's get rid of this.
When Porter was 16, doctors amputated his right arm.
I came to the decision that, well, if they're gonna stare, they're gonna point, like, let's give them a show.
Even with one arm, Porter became an all-state selection in both baseball and basketball as a high schooler.
I used to love the first quarter of basketball games when I hadn't like played people, because I don't guard you for a quarter. You put up 12 points and then, all right.
Porter Ellett, 3-point shots on its way. Good.
He was relentless, like shooting a basketball. A lot of kids would spend half an hour a day. Porter would spend 4.
That's why I love sports, is because they saved me, really.
After high school, Porter enrolled at Brigham Young University, where he got a job doing laundry for the football team and fell in love with his future wife, Carly. The Elletts settled in Salt Lake City, where Porter took a job at Goldman Sachs.
He was at Goldman's for about a year when I realized that this is something I don't know that he can stick out and feel fulfilled in his career. So we were sitting down for dinner one night and I just asked him, like, what is it that you think about when you have nothing else you need to think about? And it was sports.
How did you meet Porter?
I met him actually through my son-in-law. And my son-in-law goes, man, this guy would be a great coach. He came out and visited one of the games. So I said, bring him over to the house after the game. So he came over and we talked. And I said, all right, if I have an opening, I'll sneak you in here.
He explains to me when I have a job opening, it's to be my assistant. You'll basically be my right-hand man. You'll go like everywhere I go. I cracked the joke after he said right-hand man. I was like, well, are you okay with your right-hand man not having a right hand? And he's like laughing on the other side. He's like, you'll be my left-hand man.
He started from scratch. He started reading books. He'd quiz all the coaches.
He'd get home at midnight, he'd bring me a stack of flashcards, wake me up, and we would go through the stack of flashcards because he wanted to learn the offense.
Nice catch on that. Good route.
Since he was hired in 2017, Porter has progressed from Reed's personal assistant to assistant running backs coach and has been on staff for the Chiefs' last 3 Super Bowl victories.
He already is a great coach, but he's going to be a great coach in this league for a long time. He helps me out a ton every single day.
This kid from this middle of nowhere farm town in Loa, Utah, who suffered a horrible farming accident, only has one arm, is now next to arguably one of the greatest coaches in NFL history.
What makes you most proud of where you are now?
I don't know if I'm really proud of myself, but I'm proud that I proved everybody who bet on me right. Coach Reed doesn't have to answer questions about why would you ever hire a one-armed kid? He never has to answer that question. That's what I'm proud of.
Pretty cool, right?
Yeah. Can you share that link?
Yeah, I will.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Something amazing about, doing it anyway, right? So, and I love all the pieces of that story of where he decided that his arm still being attached to his body was holding him back. And I mean, I think he was right, because I do think that the drag on that thing might have made a big difference in what, he was able to do from an athletic perspective. So it was really awesome. So thanks to Tim for sharing that. His brother, Porter's brother, married Tim's ex-wife's brother. Yeah, something like that. There's a connection.
Sister.
So, sister, yes. His brother, Porter's brother, married Tim's ex-wife's sister. Got it. Right? Okay. All right. Well, that is what I have for you today. So thank you so much for joining in. And this week, think about feeling the fear and doing it anyway, using some oils to bring up some courage. I really loved that about what we learned about peppermint at the very beginning. And so that could be a good one to help you take the next step. Or as Mary brought up, cassia is another great one for overcoming fear. And you can also check in your emotions book. You can look up fear if you're feeling a lot of fear, and will be a whole list of oils that you can choose from that can help you to push through those fears and move forward and reach your goals. So thanks to all. Have a great week.